Michael LaMonaco was named chef director of Windows on the World in 1997. He had already built a following at the 21 Club prior to coming to the World Trade Center. He started out as an actor, which helps in his numerous TV appearances, as you'll see with his roasted oysters with wild mushrooms.
First, we'll start with the pancetta, which is Italian-style bacon. It's unsmoked. It's been rolled into this roll. It's seasoned with salt. So because it's so well seasoned with salt, what I like to do is take the pancetta, cut a slice off. Usually has some wrapping on it like this one does, so we'll remove that. And I'm going to blanch this in boiling water.
The pancetta is diced before blanching. It's blanched for about 20 seconds.
No need to cool that down. It's not necessary to ice that. Don't rinse it. Just remove it from the water. I'm using cremini mushrooms, chanterelle, and morels. The morels were dried morels that I soaked in hot water for about a half an hour. Cleaned them well and then soaked them in hot water to rehydrate them.
The mushrooms are sliced, beginning with the cremini.
Any dirt or pine needles, and then we can just tear them by hand. Cut off the very bottom if necessary. A little bit will go a long way in this dish. The chanterelles and the morels are quite expensive. The creminis add a rich flavor.
The morels are sliced into rings. The diced pancetta is sautéed first.
Just about a tablespoon of butter. To this we'll add our mushrooms, beginning with our cremini mushrooms. You can cook the mushrooms separately and remove them and then combine them at the end. Or you can cook them together if you add them in stages. So that you put the one that needs the most cooking time, like the cremini, put that in first.
The chanterelles are cooked second.
And finally, our morels. As they've been sautéed for a few minutes, then we'll add some dry vermouth. Let that cook off. While that's reducing, before we add anything else, take a look at our oysters. I'm using Wellfleets, or I can use Blue Points, or I can use really any oyster I like. I like the Wellfleets. They have a good, solid bottom, hold lots of natural juices, and I'm just going to roast those open in a hot oven, a 425-degree oven. This is rock salt, not edible, but intended for the culinary use, like the same kind of rock salt when you in old-fashioned ice cream makers. And all I'm doing is using that as a bed. That'll absorb heat and retain the heat to help the oysters open. And I've got these oysters very well washed.
The oysters are placed in a hot oven until opened.
And while they're roasting, we finish our ragu. Add some shallots. Now some chicken stock. We're going to let that reduce. By the time that's finished reducing, our oysters should be just about done, and we'll be ready to finish our ragu.
The ragu is finished with pepper and cream.
And some heavy cream. I have a variety of herbs that you could use. I'm going to use some chives, some fresh lemon thyme. Tarragon would also be really nice. You can use an oyster knife to loosen any shells that have not quite opened. You want to cook them just till they open. Try and retain any juices, the natural juices. Don't want to overcook the oysters. They're a little hot, but they can still be handled.
Dollops of mashed potato serve as anchors for the oysters.
We want our mushrooms and our pancetta ragu just to have all of the wonderful character and flavor of those things to add to the really the lusciousness of freshly roasted oysters. And by the way, these oysters can be cooked on an outdoor grill, and that is a treat in itself. And this ragu, quite a little bit of surf and turf. Roasted oysters with wild mushroom and pancetta ragu.